highlights,
insight,
reports.
updates,
This is the progress,
progress.
the progress report.
Hi there, welcome to Progress Report. I'm your host, Lennox Gasper. And on our program today, we have the Minister of Education, the Honorable Priya Manickchand, who will give us an update on her ministry and where we are so far.
So the learning loss that we had came about because we were closed for 2 years. We couldn't teach for 2 years. I mean, we did a lot of measures to keep children engaged, such as the learning channel, printing worksheets, going online where we could, teaching on the trees, village blackboards, and that kind of thing. But the reality is school doors were closed for 2 years. So what we have done, we've shaved off a year from primary school. We're no longer teaching up to grade 6, we're teaching up to grade 5. So the grade 6 children will only be tested up to grade 5. We have consolidated the curriculum. That means where we used to have 40 weeks of work, we've shaved off the things that are no longer necessary, and we've brought that down to 20 weeks. And we're asking schools and teachers to repeat the year before in the new year as they move up. Because Guyana has a spiral curriculum. So when you come into grade 3, we ask you to repeat grade 2's work for the first half of the year and then move on to grade 3's work. When you go into grade 3, we ask you to, grade 4, we ask you to repeat grade 3's work for half of the year and then go on to grade 4. And that should see us, if it is complied with by teachers, because I am also aware that some schools are doing their own thing and we're coming after them because this is necessary to get us back on track. Their entire countries, Finland rates as the best education nation in the world with the best results, best outcomes and so on. They do not give homework. They do not give homework. They have more balanced engagements with their children. And so we have to relook at what we have been doing, whether it has worked, whether it may have worked to a point and then stagnated, and what are the new things we need to do now that we have this opportunity to reset. I think I think the most effective one once implemented will be the consolidating of the curriculum, which is to teach less fluff. You need to know, we want you to know these 10 things coming out of grade 2. We're focusing on these 10 things, and then we're adding 2 more when we go to grade 3 and so on. So we've very carefully, with expertise, looked at what we could take off, and I think that was probably the most effective, or will be the most effective. Adding also distance education to our traditional means of delivering education through the Guyana Learning Channel, through the radio, is going to be an addition if used, would also be effective. So this will be measured as we go along, but those would be the 2 main ones I think we've done that will see results. We believe that in this generation, every child should have access to what are the new ways of engaging. And so computer coding across primary schools would help us to do that. And you know, when we implement anything, it's not in any particular area or another to the detriment of the areas left out. So this would be across primary schools. We're looking forward to rolling it out. School feeding in Guyana started under the Barjagdeo presidency, and we have not been able to stop. So when we first started that program, it was fully funded by the World Bank. And when the World Bank stopped funding that program, the local economy and the government invested in it because we believe it's very useful. We have seen better attendance, better enrollment, and better results from school feeding. And so from September coming, we're actually adding to the school feeding program by making sure every grade 6 child has a hot breakfast.
Now let me see you lean and rock with it like a
I want to be careful with saying we've seen an increase. What we've seen is an increase in reporting because now everybody has a camera and a phone on their phones. But whether it is an increase or an increase in reporting, we cannot allow antisocial behavior to overtake our students. It is not in their best interest. And so the ministry is going to be going into schools and assertively and firmly, I'm trying to avoid the use of the word aggressive here, given the conversation we're having, but firmly letting children know what the boundaries are and what the consequences will be for passing those boundaries.
Now let me see you lean and rock like a box. Now let me see you lean and rock with it like a box. Now let me see you lean and rock.
We think grants are a help to parents and a help that is needed now, especially with rising costs around the world, which we can't protect our people from completely and cushion completely. So we believe that it's important to give that assistance. That is something we promised when we were asking people for their support and vote. And so we are very interested in making sure we fulfill that promise. Some of the other ways we can support children are smaller classrooms, providing textbooks to our children from the government's level, from the government's pocket, making sure there are more trained teachers in the classroom, making sure there are more teachers in the classroom. And those are all measures we are actively taking right now. So we have had children taking up, but it has mirrored the adult vaccination, where parents didn't take it or not giving it to their children, and I think that's really sad. People are going to take away opportunities from their children. Like I said just now, there are some kids going off to Paris, France. How cool is that? Based on, or because they're going to be engaged in some education conversations. And one of the things they had to have was a vaccination. And if you didn't take the vaccination, you can't go. And so there are going to be those things. Canada, the US, they've removed the requirement for testing, but you have to show that you have been fully vaccinated. So there are entire countries that will be closed to children who did not get vaccinated, and that's really unfortunate if parents do not access these vaccines. And I want to say this, it's not going to be all the time, every time that we get these vaccines for free. They're available now and you can access them now, and they should for their children. So we're going to be launching it officially late August, but it's already up and running. It's being run by someone whose heart is in delivery of education, Philip Williams, in this way, through radio. And what we're doing is making sure we customize delivery through radio and television in many ways. One, to be delivered effectively through these long distance means, but also that we use our content and not other people's content. They're great open source content, but we want to customize it to the Guyanese colloquial type of content.
That has brought us to the end of Progress Report. You've been listening to the Minister of Education, the Honorable Priya Manickchand, and I've been your host, Lennox Gasper. Until next time, thank you for watching.
Highlights,
Insight.
reports.
Updates.
This is the progress.
Progress.
The Progress Report.